What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Second Syndicate. It's wonderful to have you all. We are Colorado's most unapologetic 2A activists here in the state of Colorado. We really appreciate your showing up tonight. We don't just talk about gun ownership. We don't talk about gun rights. We live this life. We have some amazing guests for you tonight. We have Josh Salem, Freedom First. He's actually a great friend of mine. We also have, in substitution for Hannah, of course, there is no substitution for the notorious Hannah Goodman, but she had some family emergencies tonight. So in her stead, I should say, we have James Wiley. He is the executive director of the LPCO. We are going to have an amazing show, and we have my amazing partner and co-host back from vacation. Welcome back, Teddy Collins. We are the Second Syndicate. How's everybody doing out there tonight?
Happy to be here, guys. Glad y'all are here as well. Before we get started tonight, I want to do a little brief update on what the Second Syndicate has been working on and talk a little bit about the Big Beautiful Bill. It was brought to our attention recently by James T. Cook, Chief Legal Counsel for the Colorado Federal Firearms Licensee Association, that the language of the Big Beautiful Bill, as currently worded, did something great for the majority of states out there, which was deregulated essentially suppressors, took away NFA tax stamps on suppressors, which in theory sounds great, but unfortunately in 17 states, here in the state of Colorado included, it would make it illegal to purchase a suppressor because they failed to put some wording in there from the Hearing Protection Act, Section 3 and 4 specifically, which has to do with preemption and also federal licensing, which would allow for suppressors to still be purchased here in the state of Colorado and those other 17 states with the wording for their state laws. So we just recently sent a letter to Congress from the Second Syndicate signed by the Republican minority leadership here in the state of Colorado to Senator Crapo of the Senate Finance Committee and other members of the Senate to let them know what this bill would actually do to constituents and these 17 states. We've actually received a response at this point, and they are working on potentially modifying that language to make it where we could still purchase suppressors here in the state of Colorado and those other states. Also, Alicia and I both been making radio appearances on the Kim Munson show at 7:10 a.m. on KLZ, so on AM 560. So definitely tune in if you haven't got a chance to do so. If you're driving to work and you have the opportunity to tune in and listen to us every Friday. Alicia has also been making radio appearances on the Ryan Schuling show and publishing articles with Kim Munson regarding the Big Beautiful Bill and what we've been up to. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and drop your thoughts in the comments. And check out our merch that funds the fight at bonfire.store/ the Second Syndicate, spelled D2ND. We're honored tonight to have two Liberty warriors who aren't just talking the talk, they're walking it daily. First, we have James Wiley, a longtime Liberty advocate and strategist who helped bridge the gap between grassroots conservatives and libertarians when it comes to gun rights. He's been on the front lines, not only in the media, but in organizing and messaging that actually moves the needles. James, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us who you are and who you're with.
Hey, welcome, James.
Glad to have you.
Hey, so glad to be here. Thanks for having me on. I'm honored to fill in for Hannah. Those are big shoes, but I'll do my best tonight. Again, my name is James Wiley. I'm the Executive Director of the Libertarian Party. Been in that position for almost a year and a half now. It's been an honor to be able to serve and represent libertarian values and to help build coalition. That's one of the major initiatives that Hannah's been pushing for in her leadership within the Libertarian Party, vice chair and now chair. She's been working to build coalition to radically transform and reshape the political landscape of Colorado. So I've been an assistant to her in that effort, and I've been really proud to help build coalitions that have, as you said, moved the needle and just be a small piece of that.
Well, thank you for being here tonight. We look forward to talking to you and discussing some very important issues. And also with him, we have Josh Salem, a CPO for Freedom First Colorado. He's helped organize campaigns and hold politicians accountable on their gun rights records and other political records as well. Josh, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a 20-year retired Army veteran. I have 5 combat deployments, 2 to Afghanistan, 3 to Iraq. During that time, I was stationed in Korea and Germany, and I did 2 multi-month missions in Africa. Right now, I currently work over at the Army Space School, going and training soldiers on how to go and fight in large-scale combat operations against near-peer adversaries. So threats and destroy the enemy is something that's very close hold to my heart. Originally, I'm from Pottsville, Pennsylvania, which is home of Yingling beer. If anybody's familiar with that, it's the
Oh
oldest
yeah.
brewery in America. So please get some of that. It's the best thing going. And I just got into politics here about a little bit in the middle of last year, and then starting in February 2024, I got a hold of my precinct leader, Heidi Ganal, who ran for governor in 2022, gave me some good mentorship when I was starting an organization up. And then we started the organization up. I went to the El Paso County meeting and I saw the high level of disorganization that was at that meeting, not calling them out or anything, but just being like, hey, I think this is something that I need to get involved in and that I need to go and start educating people and speaking with other veterans, educating myself because I was new to it. But then being like, okay, let's do some homework here. Let's see what we can do to help the GOP because right now the Democratic majority is running roughshod all over Colorado, and we are losing rights. And this next legislative session is going to be hell. So like we need to go and ensure that in 2026 we hold the line and we break that majority. And Freedom First wants to help out and do that. By what we want to do is like we're a 501c4. We empower voters and candidates through education to fight government overreach, which James is aligned with. I know that. We train patriots to engage locally, testifying, registering voters, backing freedom and liberty-minded leaders to flip Colorado's elections district by district. So we chopped up the state within like 13 colonies, sort of 13 colonies of Colorado, and we're going to go take it back. If you want to go check it out, please go to freedomfirstcolorado.org and look at our big four, which I'll talk about here in a bit, our issues. We're on the side of 80-20 issues. We're on the side of Colorado. We're here for freedom. We want to partner with liberty, get in there and get after it, and make sure that we beat this communist regime down.
Well, welcome. And just on a really on a personal note, I met Josh Salem when he wanted to get involved in the fight, and he approached us, and he has been such a staunch patriot and so consistent in what he's doing. He's spearheading everything. So he's been a great friend as well. So welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. I know we've been wanting to have you on the show for a while, so this is really great.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh, our pleasure. So let's dive into some really hearty questions. Keep in mind that the topic for the show today is discussing how we can bring the Libertarian Party and the Republican Party together and how we are doing that, and some opportunities to have open discussions of the unification and the things that may be dividing us and how we can bring ourselves together and be more effective. So, James, I'm going to start with you first. Just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. What's your background and what made you step into politics through the Liberty movement?
I first got involved in politics back in 2012 when I was turning 18. I voted for Libertarian Gary Johnson. And again, in 2016, I voted for him. In 2020, I was the organizer for the Colorado Let Her Speak movement here, organizing convoys, protests during the 2020 COVID period to try to get Jo Jorgensen on the debate stage. Voted for her again that fall. And then all hell broke loose with the election. I got involved in election integrity on a very deep level. I helped organize the Dominion voting systems lawsuits, the Dominion class action, and we went after them here in Colorado and a bunch of the other people around the country who had violated our rights, including Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook and others. And through that election integrity work, I got involved with Tina Peters in 2022 and was really proud to be able to serve her and support her efforts to get a legitimate recount, which unfortunately she did not have at the end of the day. But through that work, I became involved further with different legal groups, and the Libertarian Party approached me for assistance getting their Twitter account back. This was in 2023. I helped to get their Twitter account back. As soon as that happened, it turns out I was running for Congress. Hannah twisted my arm and put me in a position where I had no other choice except to hold Lauren Boebert accountable for her dissing libertarians, essentially, that fall.
I don't remember that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. So I ran for Congress in 2024. I had a little over a year-long campaign. It was a lot of fun. I was able to get Lauren Boebert to flee her district, run out of the mountains to the plains to be able to keep her job. Because
she's in my district now.
So I've done a little bit of damage in my time, but also had the opportunity to really support the Libertarian Party. And they asked me to do some consulting with them. And then one thing led to another. I was their executive director. I still hold that position, though more of a volunteer capacity at this point. I'm no longer working full time with them. I would do other legal work as well during the day. As executive director, though, I've been able to help the Libertarian Party really organize and focus on certain priorities to increase our financing. We've more than doubled our annual revenues through the Libertarian Party, and been able to position our political entity in a place where it's pulling all the strings in politics here in Colorado, because it's 1%, maybe up to 3% that decides most elections around the country, particularly in Colorado, which is a deeply purple state, no matter what people say. And so using this spoiler position that we're in, and whether or not we decide to exercise that power as spoilers, has put us in a place where we are controlling that conversation now. The Democrats are looking.
It's on a knife's edge here in Colorado a lot of times. It's a very close margin. A lot of people see us as a blue state, but it's a very purple state.
Yeah, so that's my main mission, is just to stick it to the system, stick it to the state, and make sure that liberty prevails at the end of the day. I know we engage in a lot of back and forth and contentious argument and discussion with our allies and especially with our enemies sometimes. But at the end of the day, we're advancing liberty, and that's why we come together. That's why we form coalition.
Awesome. So where do you see liberty-minded coalitions filling the gaps both major parties have left behind?
Well, there's a willingness to confront tyranny that I think we have an opportunity to step up into that void and that gap. For example, last year, and this isn't specifically related to the Second Amendment, though there were a lot of Second Amendment fights taking place last year. We had the BIOS password leak by Jenna Griswold. The Libertarian Party was sitting and watching the primary entity that helped expose that leak, which was the Colorado GOP. They brought that forward, and through the hard work of Sean Smith, they were able to publish that information. And then they released a few strongly worded letters signed by attorneys. Though, in my experience, no strongly worded letter does much unless it's filed with the court in the form of a brief, a complaint, a request for relief, a demand for a jury trial, etc. That's what I like to see. And so there was a void there, and I felt we could, as a Libertarian Party, with our limited resources, we could at least file a brief. And so we hired an attorney, and that's what we did, and we confronted that issue. And in general, the liberty movement, the conservative movement, the gun rights movement, there's a lot of people advocating for our rights, and we need to be doing that in the most confrontational manner possible. Being in the Capitol, testifying, filing lawsuits in the district courts and the Supreme Court, and pushing every single angle, because it's this overwhelming force that surrounds our enemy, and they won't know what front to face first. And ultimately, we will overcome them through that mode.
Yeah, just for our audience, just to kind of speak on what James is talking about here, he's talking about when Jenna Griswold accidentally put the passwords for the voting machines on her website. Yes, and now she's seeking higher office. She's seeking a promotion for the people of Colorado. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully we can make that not happen here. All right.
Well, I mean, that confrontational politics model is a term that I'm hearing a lot right now in the Colorado space. I know a lot of people really embrace that confrontational politics model. Let's talk about how that either benefits or hinders us in what we're doing right now for the Second Amendment. So what's your philosophy of the Second Amendment? What separates your approach from the usual, the GOP and Democratic narrative? Is it that we are willing, and the Libertarian Party, I shouldn't say we, but are you the willingness to be confrontational?
Yes, confrontation is a big piece of it, but also the extent and the philosophical purity of the concept of your Second Amendment rights. And so I don't think the Founding Fathers contemplated any specific technological limit to what they described when they said shall not be infringed. And to me, that is very deep concept. And we're having that discussion today. Should Iran have nuclear weapons? Well, personally, I want to have nuclear weapons. I want my... have a little nuclear bomb in it. And if somebody pisses me off a little bit too much, well, that's going to be a bad day for them. But the idea is that creates a very polite society. An armed society is a polite society.
Our
And we're gonna
society
be
is a
looking at-
polite society. You
Here,
know, you
here.
gave, when I first met you, James, you gave one of the best speeches at the Capitol this last legislative sessions. And I don't know if you can you give me a quote from that speech, something if that you remember, because it was a very satirical speech, and
He
I think
talks
it
about
really
it a lot.
cut through the BS.
And so it relates to the idea of the technological advancement of weapons. So I like to flip the script when possible. And if you follow me on X, James for Peace _, you'll see that a lot of the time I'm very satirical, very ironic, and that came through during that hearing. I had a deadline, I had a meeting I needed to get to that evening, and I recognized that there was hundreds of pro Second Amendment people and maybe a few dozen anti Second Amendment people, and so I signed up as anti Second Amendment because I had to get out of there.
Yeah, you got to speak earlier because they kept going back and forth between pro and anti.
So I sat down there next to a lady in a red shirt who gave me the foulest glare for a straight 3 minutes, and I delivered what I expressed as a plea to pass this restriction on gun rights, specifically the magazine, the detachable magazine element, because it's these restriction on gun rights, and I specified, like, first they eliminated automatic weapons in the 90s. They said that wasn't allowed, and then we got bump stocks, and then they eliminated bump stocks, thanks Trump, and we got the reset triggers. And now they're going after those. What are we going to get next? And they went after the detachable magazines, and now I'm advocating for plasma rifles, like Halo style weapons. Let's get the needler going. Let's get all these other types of weapons. But you don't need to reload. You don't need to put a new cartridge in or magazine, and you just put a new battery in or charge it like my Tesla, and then boom, now you're shooting.
There you go.
Laser weapons.
Thank you, James. All right, Josh. Here's some questions for you, brother. You've been both in the military and the political world. What turned your focus towards the Second Amendment fight and the fight for liberty?
I mean, just like James said, like in the Constitution, you don't have to really go too far there. It says, shall not be infringed upon. That's pretty cut and dry to me. I'm more like an Occam's razor type of dude where it's like the simple answer is the right answer. If you tell me like, I'm like, hey, what color is the sky, Teddy? And you start talking about the ionosphere, you start talking about prisms and scintillation and stuff. I'm like, blue, man. All right, you know what I'm saying? So like,
You're
same
cut
thing
through
with
the crap kind of guy.
Yeah, like it's blue, man. Okay, it shall not be infringed upon. That's what it means. That's it. Why can't I have an automatic weapon? Because I need to be able to match the government gun for gun. And let me tell you, if I can get a couple M240 Bravos over there with a weapon squad, we can do a lot of damage with that joker, okay, with those things, okay? We can really secure the perimeter there. So we need to repeal everything all down to the studs. And my plan with Freedom First Colorado, now we're not really two-way focused because obviously Second Syndicate, RMGO, all these other organizations are working that, Ava Flanell, everybody's working all that stuff. So like what we're focused on is more the big four issues, the 80-20. Me personally, though, I'm looking forward to repealing every single gun law that has ever been passed in Colorado and having Magpul move back here, and then we win.
Yeah, talk about lost revenue for Colorado, Magpul.
Yeah,
moving
very
out.
short-sighted. So, like,
Crazy,
we really
man.
want to go and make sure to, get right here and meet the Founding Fathers' intent.
Well, Josh, not on a different note, I know you're also campaign manager, from my understanding. Is that correct? Okay.
Yep.
So hopefully here soon, we'll be having a guest on our show for a campaign that you're managing, if you want to talk a little bit about that. But you're managing the campaign for Mr. Griffith, who's running for governor. Yeah.
I am.
Woo-hoo!
So me and Josh Griffin know each other. We were deployed together when we were both in 10 Special Forces group as enablers, me as a JTAC, him as the EW. In 2017, we were both in Afghanistan together. And, solid patriot. He went to Colorado State and played football. He was the oldest dude on the team, obviously. And then he went and got commissioned as an officer, as an infantry officer.
While he was serving, he played football at Colorado State.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
he was the oldest cat there for sure, right? But yeah, so me and Josh reconnected. What's that?
I was teasing Teddy.
Yeah. So he went and we reconnected and we started talking about stuff. And I was like, I really think like what I was seeing in the Colorado GOP was everybody was trying to out conservative each other. Like, hey, I'm more conservative than you. I'm more MAGA than you. I hate abortion more than you. And I'm like, these are not winning things that are going to win the day here. And like when I talked to Josh, he was really pragmatic, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm really want to get focused on issues that are like 80-20 issues here in Colorado so we can move the needle, like talking about parental rights, talking about like 100% equivocal on that, like with Bill 1312, that's a no-go. Of safe, affordable housing for Coloradans, and especially starting families and stuff. And then water rights, he's real big on that, and pro-energy. So I'm like, I'm all these things. So I'm like, yeah, brother, what can I do to help? Now I'm kind of a new guy. I got a lot of energy, but I mean, I got kind of a new guy, so I'm doing my personal best and working with Josh, and we're going to see how it goes. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people as the unifying candidate here in Colorado. So not trying out conservative. Yeah, and that's what we ultimately need, because it's not about having, I don't know, like we have 38% unaffiliated voters here in Colorado, right? And like 80% of the Democrats don't believe in all this crazy tyrannical radical leftism that has taken over their party. Their party got hijacked, basically, So like what we want to do, like Safer Freedom First too, is just like, hey, there's a home here for you. So we want to go and like bring in those disgruntled GOP with how the GOP's been for the last 20 years, particularly the last 8 years maybe. And then also with, unaffiliated voters, liberty-minded folks, and then left behind Kennedy Democrats. We're like, hey, we have both now I'm talking about the Griffin campaign right now, but also Freedom First too. Not, again, Freedom First is not backing any candidates in primaries, period.
Of course.
So we're really clear. This is a Josh thing, not a Freedom First thing. But
taking
Josh
that hat off, put it on
Team
the
Josh.
other.
Okay, we're doing our own thing.
The Josh.
But like we're trying to go and make sure to like have those voters and be like, hey, are you really upset with how everything's going? Hey, we need your vote. We need you to get in here and get in the fight, because this stuff's just going to keep going. And this next legislative session, it's going to hurt. But we think that if we educate enough voters, if we help ID, recruit, train, support constitutionalist candidates, and potentially form pacts with our folks over there at the LPCO, who I love seeing all the time at our Liberty events that I attend as well, that we can go and with the GOP, that new GOP like that, with the LPCO, we can form a coalition and take on the tyrannical left and win.
That's what we need. That's what we need.
Yeah. The ego's got to get checked out the door, man. The ego's got to go away. It's time. Like the enemy's out here. It's not in here.
I mean, the alternative is we have Bennett in office. So that's what we're looking
at.
And
I went to the that town hall down here in Colorado Springs a few months ago in March. Me and Chill Bremer went from Colorado Republican Assembly. She works on Scott Bottom's campaign. Great man. Met him. He did some good teaching here in the Springs. And we went to that together.
We've had Scott on the show. We like Scott a lot.
Yeah, he's awesome. So like we went on there and we were surrounded by the enemy, right? Obviously, I was having a great time because I'm a paratrooper and I'm very used to that. No problem. I'm back at home, right? And we're doing it. And what I saw there is that those tyrannical left individuals they just have TDS, a whole lot of TDS and a whole lot of rage, and they're rudderless. They have no leadership. They just don't. They're lost. And they're like, what can we do? We can't fight back against Trump. We need a leader. Who's going to give us a leader? And I'm loving this right now. This is glorious, because that's where they're at. And what we can do, if the GOP can stop infighting and partner with the LPCO, we can go and take advantage of this, form our coalition, stop their advance, and then get on the attack in 26. So let's do it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, but that successfully worked to take away the Democrat supermajority here in Colorado this last election. A lot of conservatives say they support the 2A. How do we, in your perspective, differentiate between loyalists and pretenders, Josh?
Because there's a lot of those pretenders.
There's a lot of them out there, especially in the Republican Party. Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, if you don't want to rip everything down to the studs, you're a pretender. I mean, that's it. Like that's what the Constitution says. You can read it. That's a problem with both Army military doctrine and voters. Like, did you read the Constitution? Did you read the Declaration of Independence? So as Freedom First, when you join Freedom First, we got these really cool constitutions that we're making with our branding on it and stuff, and we're ordering those. So you join Freedom First, you get a mini constitution, so you can G up on what the laws are. So that's just something we're making over there. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, what has Freedom First done to hold candidates responsible? What are you going to do to hold candidates responsible to stick to principles of freedom and liberty
And pro-gun.
and pro-gun?
Right. Right. So right now, that's talking more of the 2028 election cycle. Right now, like what Freedom First is focused on is like we're a 501c4, and what we're doing is we're really trying to go and educate patriots. I'm going and we're making some like TED Talk 10 to 15-minute videos on, hey, how do I go and find out who my elected leaders are? Because like that's the first step. What precinct are you in? So finding out who they are, and then contacting your county GOPs, and then trying to find that information out, which I know Alicia probably saw on Twitter that I called that out a little bit on purpose, and because there wasn't a lot of good contact info for a lot of the GOPs, county GOPs, potentially on purpose, right? And I was like, hey, we need to fix this now during the preseason, before the regular season, so we can partner with the LPCO and win. But like in 2028, once we start getting into primaries, because we're not going to back any primary candidates. We can't. We don't have the money. We're new. With the funding. We're just trying to get this going and help this one thing. Then once we have a little bit more structure and we have more participants, then we want to go and start IDing and training candidates and making sure that they are holding to their promises. And if they're not, being constitutionalists, then we're going to primary them. And we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that they do not get elected, because we don't need that here.
Good. We need to call out the pretenders. There's a lot of fakes out there, brother.
Yeah,
And
no good.
we're really looking forward, as the second syndicate, to work with you, Josh. I know we've worked together in the past with a lot of things that we've done, and you're just an absolute delight. And it really makes me happy to see people like you and James who are very passionate about freedom, and it keeps people like us motivated. So thank you.
Well, I just want to say one thing with that, because I got an announcement yesterday. I talked to Heidi Ganal and her team, and they invited me to go and be on the GOP state committee communications team, so I can go and help out there and get that information out for the state GOP. So I was really honored. I really appreciate Heidi contacted me, and yeah, so I'm going to help out starting on Monday.
That's awesome, brother. Where do you get the time, man? You're everywhere.
They need it.
Yeah,
They need the help for sure.
They need it.
Jeez
well,
Louise.
that's why we're building
I'm
a staff
going
to
to leave
help.
it at that.
I just wanted to say
that
about
keyway.
Freedom First Colorado, that is the incredible coalition. I'm so glad we're both on this interview at the same time, because our purpose is very much aligned in working to improve the GOP by holding them accountable. We have different mechanisms that we utilize to do that, but together we're making a real impact, and we're again hitting that from different angles. And I'm looking forward to further purifying the GOP. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we've been partnering
we're going to get
with
into
them.
the Liberty Pledge here as well, James, because that's a big thing that I'm a huge proponent of.
So this question is for the both of you. We'll have a Wiley answer first, but when did you both realize that the Second Amendment wasn't just about firearms, but it was about power? Wiley, that's to you.
I think he froze up.
Ooh,
Nope.
he's frozen.
Oh.
He's frozen. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Welcome back.
can you hear me?
Yeah. We'll
Okay,
we'll
sorry
repeat
about
that.
So since obviously we're a 2A organization, we are the Second Syndicate, we like to always focus on the Second Amendment. And one of the ongoing things that we've noticed about guns and the Second Amendment is it's not just about the guns, it's about power. So when in your lifetime and in politics was that aha moment that made you realize that indeed this is more than just about the guns, it's about the power?
Yeah, there was a point in my life where I was a pacifist, very hippie. Well, I still got the hair, but I was in a position where I didn't like guns. I didn't like violence of any kind. I thought nonviolent solutions could achieve everything. But as I grew and matured and learned more about the world, I began to recognize that no amount of goodwill or smooth talking can overcome the impulse for violence when somebody's seeing red. And if you are not there to match them or equal their potential force of violence, then you're dead. But more importantly, the people who depend on you for safety and security and who can't defend themselves, even if they did have additional resources, they're dead. And
Yeah.
so that's when I'm like, well, I'm not going to be a pacifist here and watch my family be destroyed. And I had to recognize that when you have an ability, you also have a responsibility to rise to that potential challenge. And in America and around the world, there is violence. And if you're not prepared to meet that violence with equal force, then you're not prepared, not prepared for this world.
Indeed.
And I wanted to become more prepared. I wanted to become somebody who's going to be making the decision of life or death in the moment, as God commands us to do, as his servants, as his agents, in bringing forth that power, that force to confront evil. Because if evil goes unchecked, as we see in the political sphere, but also in the rest of the world, then there will be no good people left. And that can't stand.
Agreed. Same question to you, my friend. Josh?
Well, I'd say back when I was a kid, like in '93, like Waco, Ruby Ridge. So when you go and you see that, it's like you're like, well, I need to be able to match the government gun for gun. Like I have to. So like they start taking away machine guns, they start taking away automatic weapons, they take away whatever. Like I need to be able to match the government gun for gun. You want to come over to my property? Good. I have a weapons squad sitting right here on the perimeter. Bring it on. So like, I don't know. Pretty much since then, when I saw that as a kid, like Waco burning and stuff like that, I was just like, yeah, we have to protect from the government in case they want to go and, take over. I mean, Jesus was the, best, example of a human and, all that, but he got crucified by his government and corrupt religious leaders. So if he had an AR-15, he might not have had that problem.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I've always like to tell people when they're like, "Oh, AR stands for automatic rifle." I'm like, "No, it doesn't. It stands for
Armalite.
America's rifle."
Armalite.
So for everybody out there that is tuning into the show, thank you for joining us. Please help support the Second Syndicate by hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, ringing the bell. We do have another channel at the Second Syndicate on YouTube that we want to push and drive our followers over there. We really need some support. Pretty soon we're going to be doing a really, really awesome giveaway for everybody that is following us on a platform. So stay tuned and follow us for that and support us on that platform, please. And thank you.
And we will be transitioning over to that other channel, the Second Syndicate, spelled out second on that. But let's talk about something bold. A truce between conservatives and libertarians in Colorado. Y'all called a ceasefire this last election, this non-aggression pact. Has that changed the game? It seems to have made a difference to me. What do y'all think going forward? And, let's direct that towards James.
Is James frozen again?
Looks like it.
I
How about you,
wouldn't
Josh?
go so far as to say that it's
there we go.
Oh, there
crazy
he is.
ceasefire. Can you guys
James, can you
hear
hear me? Let's give James a little bit of time to come back in here. What about you, Josh?
Okay.
So we're talking about the pact for liberty-minded candidates, where libertarians did not run candidates in those districts this last election cycle.
Yeah, so I saw that, and then there's two different ways that we were going about that. So I getting involved with the GOP and looking, like last week, I know there was a big LPCO fundraiser, and Heidi Ganahl and Britta Horn are trying to pull together, everybody in the party, and they went over to the LPCO event, met with Joe de Blasio and Hannah, and so that was really good to see that. And I saw a bunch of pictures about that. I think that'd be a good coalition to build, for sure, that we're not, in each other's hair here. But we need to go and make sure to solidify that pact that we're going to do the right thing for the liberty-minded folks. That's why I know personally for Josh Griffin's campaign, we are working with the LPCO to go and partner. And then once the elections come, and James Wiley is surely going to be elected president of the LPCO, I'm pretty confident of that. Then we're going to go work through that Liberty Pledge, and we hope, God willing, to be able to go and announce that hopefully July 4th with Josh Griffin signing the Liberty Pledge as a gubernatorial candidate, being the first one in the chute there, and us partnering with the LPCO to, again, unified a state.
Shout out to Joe DiBiasio, that name that you just said there with the Chainsaw Caucus. I'm a huge fan. He is a great guy. He supports the Second Syndicate. So shout out to Joe. He's awesome.
Yep.
Good
I don't know much
Joe's
about
good.
Britta. I'm really interested to seeing what she can and is willing to do to
We've invited
improve
her on
the
show, have we
GOP.
not?
Pardon me?
We've invited her on the show, haven't we?
We have invited her to the show. We would love it to have her accept that invitation and have that open conversation for the people of Colorado to see, you know, what her value systems are, what she wants to do, and how she feels about the Second Amendment. Because I always like to hear it from the horse's mouth. So
Right.
if Britta is watching, hopefully she is.
Come on out.
Come
We'd
on
love
up.
to have you.
I'll
Definitely.
definitely hit her up here later today about it for sure. That's not a problem. But I know we visited her. Freedom First went up and did some volunteer work to help the state GOP go move offices about 3-4 weeks ago, and met with Britta. And she was they were moving offices. They were getting after it, and it seems like she's trying to get everything together. And then she also activated her communications team, and then put me in contact with them. And then again, allowed me to go and invited me to go and join the team as well. So we can go to make sure to get that consolidated message out from a unified front with the GOP, with the same messaging, and doing the right thing here, making sure that everybody's working together. We're all working to advance freedom and liberty, and then partnering with the LPCO to take the state back.
Awesome.
Looks like we still got some issues with James' connection. Hopefully we'll get him back here soon, guys. We'll just keep on.
But
There he is. He just popped back in.
Welcome back, Wiley. Welcome back. So just to take a moment here, we want to make sure that you guys understand what's going on here at the Second Syndicate. Josh is talking about Freedom First as being a 501c4. The Second Syndicate is also. So we
There it is.
established ourselves as a 501c4, myself, Teddy, and our other business partner, Rosia Collins of Spartan Defense. Shout out to our sponsor, Spartan Defense. You can head over to Spartan Defense online and buy whatever pew-pews and accessories that you want. So they
water
keep the
guns.
lights on here. Literally, the studio, the lights, these microphones, everything is because of our Spartan Defense sponsor. So shout out to them. Shout out to Rosia. And shout out to all of you out there that want to tune in and continue to support us. We do all this based on donations and everything that comes out of their pockets and my pockets. So we are a new organization. We are a grassroots organization designed to unify and promote the humanization of the Second Amendment here in Colorado. It's very obvious that we have been under attack for quite some time, and we need mobilization, we need unification, and we need the people to come out. So we have to make sure that we have enough funds to do so. I know Teddy had talked about us and the letter that we had written. If you head over to X, you can check out that letter that we had written to Congress in conjunction with the Republicans of Colorado, as well as a press release. So go follow us on X at the Second Syndicate.
And just to give you guys some importance of that letter, let's say that it's a long shot, but let's say that we're able to get Section 4 added to the big beautiful bill for the Hearing Protection Act. That would be federal preemption of firearms laws. Let me explain to you guys what that means. That means that SB 25 would be null and void. SB 25003, we would have the ability to fight back, to cancel that. The state would not have the right to ban our access to semi-automatic magazine fed firearms. Wouldn't be possible. Anything that's under federal law could not be further restricted by state law. So if we're able to get this done, if they're able to put that in the big beautiful bill and make it passed, even regardless of all the other pork, I think it's worth it, because that right there secures our Second Amendment right across the nation to millions of constituents in states that have liberal or leftist gun laws. James, welcome back, brother. Looks like you're back on here. Glad to have you, man. We were just talking a little bit about the agreement, the Liberty Pact. If you could talk a little bit about that, and what made this agreement worth it, even knowing the blowback that the Colorado Libertarian Party would face from some of the more purists in the National Libertarian Party. Is that something you could speak to?
Yeah. Thanks for your patience with the technology
You're good,
issue
brother.
there. Can you guys hear me
It's
all
been a
right?
weird
Yeah, we can
day
hear
for
you fine.
technology.
Cool. Yeah, the Liberty Pledge is the creation of Hannah Goodman, who could explain this so much better than I, but hopefully she'll be at one of your upcoming shows to be able to correct my theirs.
Definitely would love to have her back.
One thing about the Liberty Pledge is it takes a third party which has no power, nobody pays any attention to, we get no press, our candidates get very little support, and it puts us in a position of kingmakers. Essentially, we have the power if we decide to allow a Republican to win or not. And when you have that power, you are able to come to the negotiating table. The press starts to pay attention to you, and Republicans start to line up to get your permission to be in power. And so we're able to control the conversation. We're able to control the issues in play, even if we aren't necessarily libertarians ourselves, the ones obtaining office. And yes, we do have elected libertarians. There's mayors, district board members, city council members, all this other thing that are libertarians here in Colorado.
Aaron Lamb.
Yeah, Aaron Lamb's a good friend of mine and also a member of the National Party's Central Committee. So what we have is the opportunity to start to build a relationship where we were previously ignored. And that's allowed us to form allies, coalitions, and in particular, we've had several elements of fruitful success with that. Oh, I've been a component of that in one instance where we've had 3 different candidates during the primary for the Republican Party last year approach me and ask if they could make a deal with me. And they signed the pledge. First it was Robin Hyde, then Austin O'Connell, and then Ron Hanks, all during that primary season, approached me in CD3 asking to form a coalition with me. And I agreed. And they signed a pledge. And if they had won the primary, I would have withdrawn. Unfortunately, they did not. And so the Jeff Hurd, who did win the primary, was unwilling to negotiate with me. I talked to him, but it wasn't something he was willing to do. And I came within 2% of spoiling that race. So I'm still nipping at his heels, and maybe he'll think twice next time as he tries to continue to secure that position. But that was one of the least successful examples. We have many successful examples of this in Colorado. On the congressional level, Gabe Evans, at the last minute before the deadline to withdraw from the ballot, he signed a pledge with Eric Joss. The Libertarian Party of Colorado Candidate of the Year, he just got awarded that on Saturday because of his amazing work with Gabe Evans in helping Gabe achieve that victory. It was within 1% that he was able to do it. 2 years ago, there was an 8% spoiler in that race against Barb Kirkmeyer. And so that spoiler withdrew. And then Gabe was able to flip that district from blue to red. And we had more success. There was 3 different races for the state house, which we were able to make deals with candidates on. And Rebecca Kelty, one of the candidates who we withdrew from her race, we did not challenge her as libertarians, won by only 3 votes.
She did. She was actually just in the store today. I love Rebecca Kelty. She is awesome.
Great. Yeah, she's a great ally of ours. And let's get her reelected again. She's doing good work.
I agree.
Shout out to K Shuttle for the super chat of $20. We really appreciate that. So everybody out there, please help us out. Those donations come directly to the Second Syndicate so we can continue to fight. We actually just met with Gabe Evans, a month ago. We went to his office as not only the Second Syndicate, but with the CFFLA to make some negotiations on some things that we're working on, including the adding of Section 3 and Section 4 back to the Big Beautiful Bill, as well as the full language of the Short Act. So if you guys are out there, please reach out to your congressmen, reach out to your senators, reach out to everybody. Call the switchboard at the United States Capitol and say, hey, you know what? We support the full language of the Short Act. We support the full language of the Hearing Protection Act back into the Big Beautiful Bill. Please liberate all of the firearms and their accessories.
Guys, again, that Section 4, that preemption, this means freedom for California. This means freedom for New York, New Jersey, Washington State, Michigan, Illinois. We're talking all these states that have these extremely left-wing legislators that have passed all these anti-gun infringements on their constitutional rights to be able to have those rights back, to be able to exercise them freely. It's huge. Reach out and call. Call your elected representatives. Tell them to add Section 3 and 4 of to the Big Beautiful Bill of the Hearing Protection Act. And of course, the Short Act as well would be great. A nice cherry on top.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, folks.
It is.
And we keep harping on this because it's that big of a deal. We need
It is.
everyone to reach out. We need everyone. If you have an email list that you can reach out to people, send it out to them. If you need the language, hit us up, follow us on all social media, and we're putting that stuff out there. But ask them to absolutely include the short act, absolutely include all the language of the Hearing Protection Act, and let's liberate everybody.
100%.
So we're going to head back into some state tactics and what's going on in the national level. That is always drama. So this is going to be my first question to you, James. When the national candidate is weak in the 2A, how does that impact state level organizing for you and your party?
As far as the Libertarian national candidate?
Yes.
Yeah, and well, it's really a bummer for us because a lot of us are relatively extreme with our love for weaponry, and to see somebody not champion that, but spend their entire campaign going from what Pride Parade to the next, instead of one gun range to the next, that would be my preference, or at least do what they did in 2020 and go from one Waffle House to the next. Like that's a good middle ground. There's a decent amount of violence in that environment. So it was disappointing, and it actually helps us with our mission because we weren't able to make that decision for the national candidate to withdraw. We told him to get off our ballot. We didn't want him there. We replaced him with Kennedy. We told him to go shoo, be gone, but he wouldn't get out of our way. So what ended up happening there is libertarians themselves took the initiative, and even though the candidate didn't make a deal with Trump, libertarians themselves made that deal, and they put their vote behind that deal. And 70% of libertarians voted for Trump in 2024,
Wow.
where they did not do that in 2020. So that same pledge concept played out. And it's important because, yeah, Trump's not great on the Second Amendment. He's a little bit better than Chase, maybe, but he bans bump stocks, and he comes after our Second Amendment rights from a lot of different angles. I love taking the guns first. He's pro red flag and these other major issues with Trump, but he's a lot better than Kamala. He's a lot better than Kamala. And then we've got the same issue here at the state level. Gabe Evans, he's not perfect, like former cop kind of status, like some issues there, but he is fighting for our Second Amendment rights now at the Capitol. And the person he replaced would not have done that.
No.
And so we are willing to compromise on the absolutism of our purity and our values to the small degree of advancing our rights one step at a time. And I would like to jump a mile at a time if I could, but we're more pragmatic here, and we're trying to get it right.
Absolutely.
Agreed. And I do agree with you when it comes to a lot of people feel uncomfortable about like people in Congress or people in positions of power being dedicated to like being a cop or things of that nature. I know that's a very, very hardcore libertarian value. How do you feel about military? Do you feel that the Libertarian Party is also very questionable to trust those that are, military experience rather than law enforcement experience?
I trust vets absolutely. Active duty, I'm skeptical about because of their command structure goes straight to the source of tyranny, unfortunately. And that's just the nature of it, though many people are disenfranchised during the experience of the military. And when they get out, they're liberty lovers and they live that life and try to advance our rights as much as possible. On the military element, libertarians have an interesting philosophy. Anarcho-capitalism suggests that there should be no military. It's not just an element of minarchism, like courts and military is the only thing you need in government. I as an anarcho-capitalist, would eliminate both of those. Instead, we need a well-regulated militia. What is that? Well, you have a sheriff in town. He deputizes well-respected and trusted members of the community, and they get together and they train. And when violence is brought into their community, they're the ones who step up and answer that violence. They form a posse and they go and mess stuff up for the bad people. And so that seems archaic. It seems caveman-y or Western or something of the past, but actually it can apply very well to the future, because nothing would defend our country better than to have an annual war games here in the United States where the best of every violent capacity in any field of war, be it artillery, bombers, helicopters, just people who are sharpshooters or great at throwing grenades can get together and compete with their skills on live television and send a message to the rest of the world that we have an incredible capability of violence. Do not invite us to use it against you. And so that puts us in a position where we're honoring something libertarians call the non-aggression principle. We're not initiating violence. We're not in all these foreign wars. We're not saving Israel from Iran again for the 50th time. No, we are going to be minding our own business, having a lot of fun blowing things up. Not people, but things. And if somebody comes and messes with us, we're going to have all our boys who practice and compete in the jumping out of helicopters and skiing down mountains and shooting people. We're going to deploy those people. And we're going to deploy the people who crawl in the sand for 50 miles without being noticed in a competition.
So you're
Like
calling
we're
for a
gonna,
new American Gladiator, but
yeah,
tactical.
and so the president is still the commander in chief. If he rings the bell, everybody shows up. But we don't need a standing military. The founders warned us against that. We don't even need a police force. The founders warned us against that. We need people who are self-governed, take personal responsibility, and will hold not just themselves, but those people who initiate violent force around them, hold them accountable and put them down.
When it comes to that, on that note, Josh, you are former military. Do you feel that you're more inclined to support a candidate that has law enforcement versus military, or vice versa?
I like this kind of discussion because this is one of those wonderful 80 to like 10 or 20% of the issues that me and James would disagree on, which I cannot wait to talk about once we go and take the state back. You know what I mean? So like that's really, really good. I always like those conversations because you see like different perspectives. For me personally, I like having a military that is strong and the best, most equipped in the world because it's peace through strength. Just like Donald Trump saying, peace through strength. You mess with us, we are going to skull drag you up and down the whole basketball court, and you're never, ever, ever going to try that again. All right, we are going to destroy your whole place. For us, we have like a border problem. And this is Josh talking, okay? And it's kind of radical, it's kind of funny. But like, I think we should annex Greenland for our national security, and we just give Denmark, 3 months to figure that out. And if they don't figure it out, then we'll figure it out for them. And then as far as Canada goes, again, they don't have nuclear weapons and we do. So again, hey, what's up? We're going to give you 6 months to acclimate. We're going to make you guys territories. Alberta might be able to join right off the bat, but we just be like, hey, you guys are a territory for a while until you finish your INDOC program. And then you guys are our territory as well. Great. And then Mexico, we have a border problem. We do. It's just the wrong border. So we just go and let everybody know that, hey, we're going to clear south now up to the Panama Canal, and we're going to clear it. So you're going to capitulate or die. That's it. So then we go and we have our borders problem is totally secure now. It's protected by the Navy. So that's pretty great. And we own the Panama Canal, so we can charge a pretty penny for that as well. So we don't have to do too much in, changing the name, just United States of America. Now it's God bless the USNA, the United States of North America. And we're doing really good, and we have everything protected by water. We own the Panama Canal, and we just worry about us because we'll just control our shipping lanes that are important and not be a world warmonger, world police. Like, I don't care what's going on in Iran now. I can care less. Go kill each other. Go ahead. We have oil here. We're energy independent. Right?
We
That's
could
a
be
Europe problem. That's
very
not
well
problem.
energy independent, and if we actually wanted to be, and
Especially
we
with
should be
nuclear.
as a nation.
Yeah.
I was
So-
going to say on the Greenland comment, I want to say nearly like 99% of the population is concentrated on the west coast in a very small geographical area of Greenland. All we'd have to do is annex the entire rest portion of it, but we don't want to get too much of that. And on Wiley's point, to play a little bit of devil's advocate about the police, there are countries it works in as far as the military is concerned, such as Switzerland. But we are not Switzerland. But we can talk more about that later, guys. That's definitely an interesting topic I would like to talk about off camera. So, guys, let's talk about the culture war against the Second Amendment. This isn't just about the laws; it's about the culture. The gun grabbers know it, and they are targeting our kids in schools through anti-2A classes and indoctrination.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In your thoughts, what are ways that we can fight back against this, to win this culture war?
It's training. For me, it's training. So like, you don't fear weapons, you respect weapons. Okay, that's the main thing. So Alicia is a prominent trainer, all the time, like training people up. And you guys do an excellent job at Spartan Defense. I had to do my class there with Mark, and he really did an excellent job catering to like experienced shooters like me, because I was a pistol instructor, but then also to other non-experienced shooters, and he was very patient. So like, if we have trainers like Mark, we have trainers like Alicia going and teaching people how to respect weapons, not fear them, and that's a way to do it. Like in schools, having the rifle clubs and things like that. Just if you want to come try to invade America, go ahead. We have guns out the wazoo, and you're not going to make it.
Well, we have a pilot program for that now. Arkansas, we had them sign up.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
Law. Yeah, so I don't know if you've seen, they're going to have mandatory firearms training in schools in Arkansas now. I think it's
wonderful.
great. I think it's great.
Same to you. Same to you, Wiley. What do you think?
Well, how do we win the culture war? Well, on one end of the spectrum, people believe that healthcare is a right and the government should provide healthcare. On the other end of the spectrum, I believe there should be no government. Somewhere in the middle, the guns are a right and the government should provide guns. And so we should be doing what Switzerland does. We should be issuing weapons to everybody the moment they're born and making sure that they're trained. Like you said, training is super important, making sure people are prepared to use and respect weapons. And if it's mandatory that we all have one, that's going to help people a lot more in that process, like
that's
having a car.
Taxpayer dollars right there, and I'm all for it. Actually, the biggest shooting festival in the world is in Switzerland, and the government provides the ammo. They also issue a full auto 5.56 SIG to every citizen that serves and receives training from the government as part of the militia. So,
I was just going to ask,
I joined.
what kind of gun would we want them to issue us? What pistol? What rifle? What shotgun? Because I believe in everybody having at least 3 guns.
The Holy Trinity.
Yeah, you need the Holy Trinity.
Yes.
You need the pistol.
Maybe every
you need
year
the
on your
rifle,
birthday.
and you need
Pistol,
the
rifle,
shotgun.
shotgun. Yeah.
You get a new one on your birthday every year.
Every year on your birthday, did you just get a free one?
It's going to be my birthday.
For life.
Again,
Shameless
tax
plug.
dollars much better spent than gender studies in African nations. So yes,
Maybe from the revenue of Panama Canal, maybe the revenue from Panama Canal is paying for that.
There you go. There you go. We got some solutions. See, libertarians, Republicans, conservatives working together. We love it. We love it. Awesome. All right. So let's see where we're at.
That's to you, dear.
I lost my spot.
Right here. Right here. There you
Veterans carry powerful stories. What does post-service 2A advocacy look like, and how do we get vets more involved in the fight?
Because we realize right now, just to drop it out there, a lot of hunters, veterans, they're not voting. They're not registered to vote. Think about how we need that, and what can we do right now as a community
Heck,
and
even
as these organizations.
Even active duty can register to vote here in the state of Colorado, even if they're, as their duty station. We would love for them to register to vote, because that could literally change from a purple to a red state just with their votes.
Yeah.
Good call.
So yeah, for us, kind of like going to, like, there's a point where some people are like, they don't agree with this, but like going to the American Legion, the VFWs, and start activating those veterans that served in foreign work. We're in the globalist campaign for the last 20 years, and I have 5 trips over there for that. So like going and engaging those veterans, because like most of us, we just want them to be left alone. That's it. Like, just leave me alone, get the nanny state out of my pocket. Don't bother me. Just let me live my life. And then once all this encroachment started happening with all the taxes, with all of the fees and trying to backdoor Tabor, with all the 2A stuff. Like, I have a lot of friends that are, avid shooters, Rangers, Green Berets, everything. They don't even know these gun bills are going on. And they're like, I tell them about it, and they're like, wait, what? They're going to bang magazine-fed weapons? They're like, that's all the weapons almost. I'm like, I know, right? And they're like, well, okay, what do we do about that? I'm like, exactly, bro. We got to start figuring this stuff out and getting the boys going, instead of like going to the bar and talking about Trump and bitching. Instead of doing that, let's just go and, let's go organize and start getting involved in our local community. Like I said, finding out who your representatives are, start forming your colonies, our 13 colonies that we're trying to do, and then start influencing our leaders to be able to go and be very pro 2A and pull this thing down for the studs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to take some questions from the audience, the guys that are in the comments tonight. Carl, can you put some of those up as they come in? We'll come back to those here in a minute. I'm talking to Carl, our media guy back in the back there.
Shout
We'll
out
get
to
some
Carl.
questions popped out here to our guests and to us as well. So if you do have questions, put them in the comments. Carl will get them to us here on the screen, and we will answer them. But moving on, I'll let Alicia take this next segment. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. So one of the things that we talk about here, well, what?
Oh, you go ahead.
I'm like, the Second Syndicate, we are a family organization. So if you guys aren't aware of that, we are absolutely a family organization. I'm a dragon lady. I have no kids. I have no husband.
She's got a
But-
bunch of dogs.
But we do have the Collins compound over here, and we are very family oriented, and we want to talk about, family values, education, and faith are also, those are foundations for quality families, but also is gun safety and gun rights. How do you think, in your perspectives, those things intertwine with your political party? I think we got everybody on pause there. Ghost. Hey, how's it going?
Okay. Hear me okay?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's kind of weird at the same time. Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, so like, family that shoots together stays together. You know what I mean? Let's just, like, it's fun to go out there. Like, I know Teddy goes and does some events on Sundays and things like that. I kind of don't do much on Sunday. That's why I didn't come over yet, but do a Saturday event, let me know.
We're gonna make that happen, Josh. I'm gonna have both you and Wiley over. We'll go shoot at the Spartan Ranch.
Yeah, totally down for that because, you have to educate kids and not have them fear those weapons, and you have to go and coach, teach, mentor, and let them have fun with them because it's fun. Like, you don't want to be on the business end of it. The worst thing to feeling is if you ever had a gun pulled on you and you don't have a weapon. I have had that happen to me twice. It is not a good feeling. It's not. You're really tough, and then at the pizza place, and all of a sudden you're not. You're just not. You just shut up really quick. So like, making sure to go, and all this unrest that's going on, like especially right now in Denver and all that, and it's just ruined up there. You have to be packing. Like, you have to carry. So like, going and training and teaching kids again, respect weapons, not fear them. Going and having fun and going shooting and doing family events like that and having a barbecue up at Teddy's Ranch, and then making sure that you're getting the training that you need so that if something does happen up at 6th Street Mall or whatever they call it now, because there's no stores there. You go and you have a weapon with you to be able to go and protect your family. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to jail before somebody's killing me. We'll sort that out.
Rather catch a case than a casket, baby.
And just to add on to the education, that goes to the culture war as well. People fear what they don't understand.
Absolutely.
Ignorance leads to fear. Education destroys ignorance. And that is why they don't want people being educated. They don't want our children being educated in schools on firearms and things of that nature, because it takes away the fear. It takes away the doubt. And that's why it's important that we get our children, our families involved with firearms and educate with firearms, because an inanimate object is not dangerous if you know how to properly use it.
So I want to chime in on that.
Yeah.
We are coming up on Father's Day. And I want to say not only happy Father's Day to all the quality masculine men out there that are leaders, but that is the absolute reason that I am sitting here today and I am doing this, and we are in this fight. The Second Syndicate exists, that the Boomstick Babe was created. All of these things was because of my father, because he put a gun in my hand when I was very young. He taught me the respect of the tool. He taught me that the mind is the weapon, the gun is the tool, the purpose of having it, the quality of training, and the importance of those things. And that's exactly why this culture here exists. So shout out to all the dads. And that's exactly the change that we need right now, is for quality masculinity and femininity to come together and teach our children what it means to be respectful of the tool.
Yeah, and teach them conflict resolution. That's the biggest problem. So you have all
course.
these school shootings and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, you know why that's happening? Because kids don't know how to resolve their own conflicts, because they have helicopter parents that are going and just staying around their kids the whole time. We were out in the basketball court. We were out in the woods together, And if we had an altercation, we had a fist fight, and then we were best friends the next day.
And then it was
Any of my
gentlemen. You
friends
shook
watching at home know
hands, you
about
went your
that.
separate ways, and you were back to being friends later on. I mean, that's how it
Mhm.
used to work. Now it blows up with extreme violence, and it's because of the ways things are
Bottled
being
up.
handled these days. It's bottled up.
Mhm.
I agree with you, 100%.
So let's jump into this here. We have some questions from the audience. One of the questions was to Wiley. What is your holy grail gun?
Oh man, Desert Eagle. Oh, Desert Eagle every day.
No stutter there.
So I had this Desert Eagle BB gun when I was a kid, and I grew up in Kazakhstan, so I had to get it here in America and have it shipped with a friend over to Kazakhstan. I finally got my hands on it. Silly old me takes it through an airport, and those security personnel at the Osh airport, which only propellers at that airport. He, I think he wanted it for his son,
Tried to take it
so
from
they confiscated my Desert Eagle. And boy, my friends hated me because the kick on that, it hurt when you got hit by that.
Oh yeah,
Accuracy was awful, but
I've shot one.
so I would love to, and that was just a BB gun, but I'd love to be able to shoot a Desert Eagle
Do
sometime.
you have one now? You don't have one
I do
now?
not. I don't
Okay.
have one.
We can change that. I've got one at the ranch. We'll get you out. We'll get you behind a Desert Eagle. That's easy.
Cool.
And I will
Laugh
say,
it.
if you do want to add one to your collection, keep in mind that is considered a gas-operated firearm. SB 25-003 will make that require that special
So
license.
reach out to
unfortunately.
your politicians and tell them we want Section 3, Section 4 back in the big beautiful bill, and we want the short act in there. So we also have another comment from the audience from one of my favorite people out there, Joe DiBiasio. He said he just received his Second Syndicate shirt today. Please send us a picture of that, Joe. You guys can go to our bonfire store. It's bonfire.com/store.
Yep.
/the Second Syndicate, the 2ND, and you could buy some merch. And we are a nonprofit, so when you buy merch, that money comes back, it supports us, and it gets our branding out there. So people are like, "Hey, what's the Second Syndicate?"
We'll put that link out there, guys. And if Carl, if you don't mind showing some of the shirt examples that we have, that we've done some pretty fun shirts here. So show our gun salesman of the year, if you don't mind. If we could show the back of that one,
Oh, my.
or are you
Oh,
able
my.
to do that, Carl? All right, cool. Give us one sec here. It's working. I see.
There
it.
you go. There you go.
There we go.
So most of our
So-
shirts on the front have just a little Second Syndicate rifle.
But on
And
the
then
back
we
here,
have
we've got good
good
old
old
Tom
Tom.
Sullivan, gun salesman of the year, holding his trophy with his communist flag. Gotta love it.
Good
We've
old,
also
hey,
got our
all I
Polish
do
from
is
prison shirt and our I
trample on
Got
your
Your
rights.
Back, Bro, which is one of my favorites here, the I Got Your Back, with the Second Amendment defending the First. Gotta love it. Holding an AR.
That's a classic.
Classic,
Mhm.
guys. Classic and classy. Go to the Second Syndicate store, buy some merch, help support us, guys. Got a bunch of fun shirts, and we're dropping more every week. So check us out.
And hey, it's a way to donate and get something for donating. So
Absolutely.
you don't feel like you're just throwing money at us and you don't know where it's going. Well, guess what? You got a really cool
Get
shirt,
something in return.
and it's helping us stay engaged in this fight.
Mhm.
All right. So it looks like we got a question here.
From
who's that
Carl.
question From, or who's that
From
to?
Carl. So Carl is our media guy. He's amazing. He makes the show happen. So shout out to Carl. He wanted to know, what moment did you know you wanted to get involved in the party and politics? And that goes to each of you.
I still don't want to be involved. I want to get as far away from this as possible. But I have to. I'm not the type of person, and you guys, I know you feel the exact same way. You can't see something and not stand up and do something about it. And if you have the knowledge of something, as I said before, you then have the responsibility to do something about it, or at least try. And it's through a series of tryings that I've ended up where I am. And many fails, unfortunately, but a few successes. And that is what politics is necessarily, is contention, conflict. You learn a lot, you grow, and you advance liberty if you're on the right side of history.
Wonderful. Same to you, Mr. Salem.
Yeah, so I actually got a phone call from one of my mentors, Colonel Calvin Winbush from Florida. He actually ran for a representative seat, and Phil Hegseth interviewed him a few years ago. So Colonel Cal called me up and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing in Colorado?" And I'm like, "Hey, the GOP's kind of messed up, and I'm probably going to start getting involved with the Libertarian Party." And then he was like, "Well, what if you can go and fix the Republican Party from the inside?" And I'm like, "All right, sir, I'm interested in what you're saying, you know." And he started explaining to me about activism and stuff. I started getting the Colorado Republican Assembly going, which Alicia is familiar with. And then I went and I merged and formed the Freedom First Colorado with Tim Bennett, our president, who is very experienced. He's also a retired Army colonel. But yeah, Colonel Cal called me up and then he put me in contact with Typhoon Lou Moran. And if you want to talk about a Trumper, day one Trumper, Typhoon Lou, he will break it down in simple chapter and verse. He is the national trainer for the NFRA. And they do a lot of good things down there. The Florida chapter is very strong. That's like the strength of conservatism right now. And they're doing an excellent job down there in Florida. Just a shout out to the FRA for going and providing me that mentorship and training. And we're trying to use those lessons that we learned here with Freedom First Colorado to be able to go and get us back to having constitutionalist candidates and taking all these 2A laws, getting them out of here, and getting back to freedom and liberty. And hopefully, for me and James, uniting freedom and liberty in a consolidated front against the tyrannical left.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So for everybody out there that wants to get involved and wants to take a step up, we'll have you go first, Wiley, and say they want to get involved in politics. What can someone do right now to step up to help the Libertarian Party?
There's two expressions of will that you could offer, which would be most valuable, financial and time. So yeah, we all budget our time, we all budget our finances. Those are based on priorities. The where you spend your time, where you spend your money, that's what matters to you. If the Second Amendment matters to you, if America matters to you, if your rights, the future of this country, this beautiful experiment matters to you, then budget some time, budget some money, as much as you can afford of each, and do your part. And don't destroy your life in the process. You need to be a sovereign and sustained citizen, taking personal responsibility, but apply some of that ability to this fight. If you believe in what's happening here, if you believe in the Second Syndicate, if you believe in the Libertarian Party and in freedom in Colorado and in advancing and improving the Republican Party, then get involved. Wherever you are, there's something within your reach that you could do.
Wonderful. To you, Josh, how would you encourage people to get involved in, being a Republican and getting involved with Freedom First Colorado?
Right. So like the first step is finding out how to go and find out who your representatives are. Like, what district are you in? What precinct am I in? So I went and on my homepage for X at Real Josh Salem, you go on my highlights and I kind of listed that out to, hey, how do I start getting involved locally? There's a couple learning tweets there that are going to help out, be able to go follow step by step to how to find that out. And then if you're an unaffiliated voter, if you're a left behind Democrat, if you're a disgruntled GOP, Freedom First Colorado was created for you because what we're doing is we're trying to activate those patriots here in Colorado to bring them back in to the fold, into that big tent with the LPCO and the GOP to be able to go and fight the tyrannical left. Because if we don't, Bennett's going to be the senator. They're going to have another Democratic governor. And honestly, if we don't start getting people involved, you're not going to be able to wait it out. Like the way we're structured for Freedom First, if you're in Morgan County and you're like, hey, I'm in Morgan County and we always vote red, so it doesn't really matter to us. Well, if we can go get that money over to Freedom First, and then we can go and start training other people that are in House District 16, House District 18, House District 50, backing up Ryan Gonzalez, to be able to go and get that money to those candidates that need it, that are in a big fight out there. That's how Morgan County can then go and help out the fight and switch the, flip the House, flip the Senate, or the governorship. Like, who knows? But like those rural counties and stuff, they can go with Freedom First. We care about ranchers. We care about the water. We care that they're trying to kill ag. We want to go and get that information to the city Republicans so that we can go and have a voice there too, and making sure that we, stress that their concerns as well. So that's how you get involved with us at Freedom First. And if you do it, I'm a very transparent dude.
Yes.
I got a black belt in keeping it real. All right. And a black belt in Lean Six Sigma. So like what we're going to do is we're going to make sure to be overly transparent with what we're doing, how we're spending money with those 13 colonies and giving them a monthly report while we're training them how to be a staff and how to go and educate voters in their local community and partner with your LPCO and the local GOP.
Wonderful. Glad to hear it.
A question we like to ask towards the closing of each show is we already know what your dream gun is, James, and I'm going to ask this question to both of you guys, but what is your favorite gun you currently own? Okay. And what's a quote for the 2A that you can leave us with? We'll start with you, James.
I've got my great grandfather, I believe, Civil War rifle. So
Lovely.
Oh, wow.
that is a family heirloom. I won't mention which side it came from, but it's something I'm really proud of, and I'm
Can't show it there, Josh.
I'll do it.
Don't do it, Josh.
It is not a weapon.
So, just so you guys understand that we are dealing with a network, YouTube.
Yeah,
that
if we touch a
if we
firearm
touch-
during a live,
Yeah, not a
handle.
firearm. Not a firearm. Swear to God.
All right, we're good then.
Any of that stuff, they cut our live feed. And that's
Yeah.
because we're working with these organizations that are actively trying to hinder us and quiet us.
All right, James.
See,
Give us,
like, Teddy's like, Josh going for a gun. Here we go.
give us a quote, James.
quote on the Second Amendment.
Just from you. It could
Just
just
from
be
me.
off the top of your head, brother.
What is one of your
Anything
favorite
you want to leave
quotes?
us with, or one of your favorite quotes from somebody else?
Well, I'm somewhat of an accelerationist. As much as I'm fighting for freedom, if they would accelerate the downfall of tyranny, that would or the rise of tyranny, that will also accelerate the downfall of tyranny. So if they want to bring it, I'm here for it. Like I'm going to use peaceful means up until I don't have to, but it's the non-aggression principle that I'm here to respect first of all.
Wonderful.
Very good. All right,
Same
Josh.
to you,
you're up,
Mr.
brother.
Salem.
Okay, so my gun is one that I've shot before. I just wasn't the guy for it. So, Ken DeGraff, so he was an A-10 pilot, and I was a JTAC over in the soft unit. So my favorite gun is a GAU 8, which is a 30 Mike cannon on the front of the A-10 because it is as he would say, a lead laser. And what it's designed to do is kill tanks, Russian tanks. So that's my favorite because it's the only gun that had an airplane built around it. They built the
Oh,
gun
wow.
first.
It's an
they
airplane built around a gun.
So that's the best gun that I really like shooting. Much like our patriot Israel Del Toro, his book. I just went and I finished half of the book so far on my work trip when I went down to Fort Hood last week, and I'll finish the other half this week. I mean, amazing patriot. You know what I mean?
love him.
His story is amazing.
Absolutely.
So-
Yeah, wait, I'm sure it's his favorite too.
He's talking about one of our former guests. You can go on our show in the history of our shows on Spartan Defense Armory and find our interview and our guest, Israel Del Toro, DT. He has become an excellent friend of mine. He's also a really, really cool dude. And he has a book called The Patriot's Promise. Please go buy it. Look it up. Celebrate that man.
Only person to be 100% disabled, if I remember correct? Or that,
Yes,
that
he
re-enlisted
was
in the
burnt-
military?
Over 80% his body.
The first one
And-
to re-enlist.
Yes.
And the first
Yes.
person to ever re-enlist that was considered 100% disabled. He's an amazing human
True
being.
patriot.
He's hilarious.
True patriot. True.
He's
And then I would
hilarious.
Served his country.
Joe is asking where the donation link is for the Second Syndicate. You can have it against go to at the Second Syndicate, the 2ND, and you can donate there. Please support us, guys. It helps us keep us on the radio. It helps us keep this show going and helps us stay into the community doing the things that we do in order to educate and spread the word of humanizing the Second Amendment movement here in Colorado. You can also go buy merch and donate to us, and make sure that you hit the bell, like, subscribe, go follow us on the Second Syndicate on YouTube, as well as all of our platforms on Instagram, on Facebook, on X at the Second Syndicate. And follow also the Colorado 2AA King with the accessory king of Chicago. No, Colorado. I tease him because if you've never watched, what is it? Ferris Bueller. He's like the sausage king of Chicago. He's the accessory king of Colorado. So if you don't, see Teddy's face, it's because of the reflection of all the bling.
Oh my God. Look for the watch I'm wearing. I change it every show, guys. Well, it's about that time, guys. So huge thank you to our guests tonight, guys. Thank you for joining us. James, thank you for joining us late notice. We really appreciate you, brother, filling in for Hannah. Guys, tune into the Second Syndicate. We are going to be switching our schedule up a little bit during the summer season until the legislature starts back here in Colorado. We're going to be going every other week, and instead of coming to you Thursdays at 7:30, we're going to be coming to you on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. So our next show will be Wednesday the 25th. Hopefully with our gubernatorial candidate that Josh is managing his campaign. So hopefully we'll see you guys then, and tune in and make sure you subscribe to the new Second Syndicate YouTube channel. God bless you all. Thank you for joining us tonight, and have a great night.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks
Peace
for having
out.
us.